In the sleepy town of Willow Creek, where the horizon stretched like a canvas of endless dusk, secrets were as fragile as dandelion seeds in the wind. Alexander Mitchell Alex, to everyone who mattered, never imagined his heart would rewrite his story in starlight, but then he hadn't counted on William Parker. Will arrived in 6th grade, a lanky boy from Chicago with sandy hair that caught the sun and eyes like twin oceans, bright and boundless. While other kids circled warily around the newcomer, Alex felt an inexplicable pull, as if Will carried a piece of a puzzle Alex hadn't known he was solving. Their friendship sparked over a Captain America lunchbox, a bold declaration in a sea of preteen conformity. "You like Marvel?" Alex asked, pointing. Will's grin was a sunrise. "Yeah, you?" That was it. Their worlds collided, stitched together by comic books, sci-fi dreams, and debates about whether Batman could outwit Iron Man. They grew up as shadows of each other, inseparable through the scraped knees of middle school and the restless ache of high school. Willow Creek was their playground. Afternoons sprawled in Alex's basement playing video games, summers by the lake whispering secrets to the stars, winters huddled over pizza at Morio's, their laughter fogging the windows. Will's family became Alex's sanctuary, and Alex's home was Will's refuge. They were two halves of a single orbit, constant and unquestioned, but in their junior year, something shifted, soft as a tide turning. Alex noticed it first during a movie night, the kind they'd had 100 times before. Will had fallen asleep, his head heavy on Alex's shoulder, his breath warm against Alex's neck. The flicker of the forgotten action film cast shadows across Will's face, and Alex's heart stuttered. He was acutely aware of every point of contact, the brush of Will's hair, the rise and fall of his chest. It wasn't new, this closeness, but it felt like waking up in a room he'd always known, now lit by a different sun. Terrified, Alex pushed the feeling down. Will was his best friend. He couldn't risk shattering that for something he didn't even understand. The realization unmoored him. Alex had dated girls, flirted at parties, played the part of the all-American boy. Yet here he was, unraveling because Will's laugh made his chest ache, because the way Will's eyes crinkled when he smiled felt like a secret meant only for him. He wrestled with it in silence, each casual touch a hand on his shoulder, a nudge during swim practice, both a lifeline and a wound. At swim practice, Will's hands guided Alex's arms through a butterfly stroke, his voice steady. "You're to tense, let it flow." The cold water couldn't douse the fire under Alex's skin. He lingered in the locker room afterward, waiting for his pulse to steady, terrified Will would see the truth in his eyes. Winter brought a night that cracked Alex's world open. At Morio's, sharing a pepperoni pizza, Will talked about Mitt, his voice bright with dreams. "You should apply too," he said, waving a slice. "We could be roommates." Alex's stomach flipped at the thought of sharing a dorm, of waking up to Will's sleepy smile every day. He mumbled something vague, already planning to flee to West Coast schools, hoping distance might silence his heart. But then, without thinking, he reached across the table to wipe a smudge of sauce from Will's mouth. Their eyes locked, and time held its breath. Will's smile was soft, unreadable. "Thanks, Mom," he teased, but his voice trembled, and Alex lay awake that night, replaying the moment until dawn. Spring arrived, and with it, a party at Jake Thompson's house. The air was thick with teenage rebellion, cheap beer, loud music, and the reckless energy of youth. Will, cheeks flushed from drinking, grabbed Alex's arm. "Dance with me," he called, pulling him into the crowd. Alex laughed, blaming the beer for the way he let Will's hands rest on his hips, for the way their bodies swayed too close. As the song faded, their eyes met, and for a heartbeat, Alex thought Will might kiss him. But Sarah Matthews appeared, her arms around Will, and the moment shattered. Alex fled to the kitchen, his chest tight, trying to breathe through the ache. Will found him there, his gaze piercing. "Why do you do that, Alex? Run away from me." His voice was soft but raw, stripping Alex bare. "You've been doing it for months. Every time we get close, you pull away." Alex's resolve crumbled. "Because I can't pretend anymore." He whispered, eyes burning, "I can't pretend I don't love you. That I haven't been in love with you for months." The silence was deafening. Then Will's hand was on his cheek, gentle but firm. "Sarah asked me to prom," he said. "I told her no." Alex's breath caught. "Why?" Will's smile was a confession. "Because I'm in love with my best friend." Their first kiss in that cluttered kitchen was a supernova, years of longing igniting in a single moment. Will's lips were soft, his hands anchoring Alex as the world spun away. They stumbled into Jake's backyard, the April air cool against their fevered skin, and kissed again under the stars, unhurried and certain. "How long?" Alex asked, their hands still entwined. Will's eyes traced the sky. "Last summer by the lake. You were talking about your future, and I realized I couldn't imagine mine without you." That night, in Will's room, they shed their fears along with their clothes, discovering each other with the tenderness of firsts and the familiarity of forever. Lying in Will's arms, Alex watched moonlight dance across his face, feeling whole in a way he never had. But even in that bliss, a shadow lingered. How long could they hide? They kept their love secret, stealing moments in private while playing best friends in public. Will's mother, Claire, was the first to see through them. One evening, she walked in on a stolen kiss in Will's room. Her silence was heavy, but when she spoke, it was with love. "This is a safe space," she said, her eyes soft. "But be careful, not everyone will understand." Her warning hung over them, especially about Alex's parents, whose faith left little room for a love like theirs. Prom was a delicate dance of pretense. They went with friends, Alex with Emma, Will with Rachel, but Claire ensured they had photos together, their hands brushing behind their backs. After dropping their dates off, they drove to their overlook, a cliff above Willow Creek, where the stars felt close enough to touch. Will played a slow song on his phone, pulling Alex into his arms. "May I have this dance?" he murmured. They swayed under the sky, their prom night theirs at last. "I got intimate," Will whispered. Alex grinned, pulling out his phone to show his own acceptance. They spun in circles, laughing, their future unfolding like a map. But 2 weeks before graduation, Alex's world fractured. His mother found emails about Mitt, about him, and Will planning a life together. The confrontation was a storm, his father's cold fury, his mother's tears, their insistence it was a sin, a phase. They demanded conversion therapy, a deferral to Liberty University. "No," Alex said, his voice steel. "I'm 18, you can't decide for me." The ultimatum came, conform or leave. With trembling hands, he called Will. "Can you come get me?" he choked out. Will was there in 20 minutes, pulling Alex into his arms as he sobbed. Claire welcomed Alex into their home, setting up the guest room as if he'd always belonged. She helped him navigate Independence Bank accounts, financial aid, while Will's father, David, guided him through legal steps. The town buzzed with whispers, some cruel, but their swim team rallied around them, and Claire's fierce love was a shield. Graduation was bittersweet. Alex's parents attended, but left without a word. Claire's hug afterward, her whisper, "I'm so proud of my boys," was a bomb. That summer, they faced the town stairs but found solace at the overlook in each other. When August came, Claire drove them to the airport for Mitt, tears in her eyes. "Take care of each other," she said. In Boston, they found freedom. On campus, they held hands, tentative at first, then bold. The Charles River became their new overlook, where they dreamed without fear. College tested them, different dorms, grueling classes, but they carved out time for diner dates, library study sessions, and lazy Sundays in their tiny Cambridge apartment. Claire visited, fast-timing decorating tips. Alex's mother sent hesitant texts, small bridges over a chasm. By junior year, they were thriving. Will in tech internships, Alex in biotech research. One Sunday, tangled in bed, Will mentioned a Google offer in California. "I turned it down," he said. "I want to be where you are." They began dreaming bigger, a house, kids, a life. Then came news that shook them. Alex's mother had breast cancer. They drove home, Will's hand steady in Alex's. At the hospital, his father nodded a fragile truce. His mother's tears were an apology. "I'm sorry," she whispered, clutching Alex's hand. Her illness became a catalyst for healing. Over months of treatment, Alex and Will visited often, their love softening even his father's edges. When she beat cancer, she told Alex, "Seeing you two together taught me love has no boundaries." After graduation, they stayed in Boston. Alex pursued a PhD. Will joined a tech firm. They bought a small house, their own piece of forever. Claire was a frequent guest, and Alex's parents began visiting, their acceptance slow but real. One evening, over coffee, they ran into Sarah Matthews. "I always knew," she said, smiling. "The way you looked at each other, it was obvious." Looking back, Alex knows that night at Jake's party was their beginning, a spark that grew into a constellation. Life isn't perfect, there are still whispers, still challenges, but with Will's hand in his, Alex feels invincible. As Will says, some stories are written in the stars, destined for a happy ending.
"Daniel," James said, his voice trembling, "you were here that first night, lost in your art. I drove by, and you changed everything." He knelt, a ring glinting in the snow. "You helped me find myself. Will you marry me?" Tears blurred Daniel's vision as he whispered, "Yes." The crowd cheered, and as James kissed him, the world felt infinite. Their wedding was small, held at the harbor under a spring sky. Rodriguez gave a speech that had everyone in stitches, and James's father organized an honor guard, batons raised. As they walked through their honeymoon, of photography tours through Europe wove their love into every frame they captured. A year later, Daniel's gallery show, Night Patrol, told their story through images of Boston's quiet moments, many featuring a certain green-eyed officer. The final photo was the harbor at midnight, police lights shimmering on the water. As James stood beside him, proud and unafraid, Daniel leaned close. "Best traffic stop ever," he murmured. James laughed, pulling him in. "Mine too." In the glow of their shared life, Daniel knew love could spark anywhere, even in the flash of red and blue on a lonely autumn night.